Let's talk Bengals draft here. Fair warning, I might not be as high on this draft as Bengals fans are. Listen, I can't like everyone's draft, right? And I can't like every single prospect. I can't have 50 prospects that I have first round grades on. And that's really what it was. Is I'm just not a crazy fan about Daxton Hill. There's stuff to like about Daxton Hill for sure. So he's, the 28th rated prospect on the consensus big board. He goes at 31. Some people love Daxton Hill. I didn't really see it, I guess, is what I'll just say. He's sort of a very versatile guy. That's what I like about him. He's someone who can, play slot corner. He can play safety. He might even be able to play outside. The question is, can he do any of those things incredibly well? Is kind of my issue. I didn't love his tape. A lot of people really like his tape though. So that's kind of it's an evaluation thing from my standpoint of some people are going to sit here and say Daxton Hill is awesome. And if you're one of those people, cool. Like we just disagree. It is what it is. Because again, I don't hate him as a prospect. Just wasn't one of my guys. That happens when you watch film. There's some guys who you're just like, I didn't really see it. So we don't spend forever on him. I do think that if he hits, he could be really key as at least just like a slot corner for them, and maybe someone who could, if Eli Apple does suck, which is fair to have some concerns about that. He's someone who could potentially, fill into that role. So, and just having guys who can play multiple positions always increases value. So don't hate the pick. And the way the board fell, it was kind of a tough board for them. I think they were really praying Linderbaum would have fallen. I wouldn't have hated if they went up and traded up for one of those good offensive linemen, but they decided not to do that. They ended up still only with 6 picks. So maybe you don't want to, give up more capital perhaps. Cam Taylor-Britt is another guy who I am fascinated by. So he's someone who, again, his athleticism very good, and he was relatively productive. He wasn't outstandingly productive, but relatively productive, and has great athlete. So for the cornerback position, I actually don't really have an issue with taking a guy like that. So it's kind of considered a reach in terms of the consensus big board, but I don't know if it is. And he's someone who could potentially be that again. Eli Apple replacement, or at least someone who's gonna, be a Eli Apple insurance in case something goes wrong, which, could happen. So this could be a potential sleeper. And we could look back on this pick and say, man, that was a quality pick. Man, they really got a good player later on in this draft. What were we thinking not drafting him? He wasn't the best corner in college football. You are drafting him a little bit as a projection. You're drafting him to be someone who's better than he currently is, but that happens. Guys do get better, especially at the cornerback position. Also, Zachary Carter at 95. From what I've seen about him, seems like he'll just be like a solid edge rusher. Again, for edge rushers, you can use analytics to kind of check and see how they could be in the future. His analytics are solid, kind of right around where he should be drafted. So maybe a little bit lower, just like how you see that he was drafted above the consensus big board, but not massively so. So this is a fine pick for me. I don't have, if I had a letter grade on it, I don't know. It's just a fine grade. It's nothing spectacular, nothing horrible either. Then in round 4, Cordero Volson here at 136. He was 203 on the big board. He seems like maybe just depth at the offensive line position. When their offensive line got banged up last year, it wasn't great. He's someone who, from what I understand about him, is kind of an average athlete. He's 6'7", only 313 though, so a little bit skinny for a 6'7" offensive lineman. So that's fascinating as well. Maybe they feel like he could potentially be a guard. They still did not get a guard with any of their top 3 picks, so they needed some offensive line help in round 4. Seems like a depth move more than anything, though. I don't think that he's going to come in and really compete for that guard spot right away. But granted, I mean, listen, if they have what they had in the Super Bowl, where you need either Jackson Carman or Hakeem Adeniji trying to compete for it, maybe he can win that battle. So we'll have to just see exactly what happens there. Tyson Anderson, another guy who sort of a fast safety type, which makes you wonder, did you need another safety? Perhaps he is Daxton Hill insurance, right? The double dip strategy is not a bad strategy. You take someone who you like, but the draft is to some degree a crapshoot. So if you're taking someone you like, but you don't know for a fact that can work, getting a Tyson Anderson just gives you it raises the odds of you getting a good safety in this draft class. And maybe he can play special teams as well. And listen, football depth is still important. Injuries happen all the time. So, it makes sense to still draft a guy if you like him. Finally, in the 7th round, Jeffrey Gunther, who Gunter, I think maybe is how you say it. 252 overall. So we're nearing the end of the draft right here when he was selected. Again, guys like this are almost always special teamers. He was a linebacker, so I'm assuming that that's he's going to be a special teams guy. That's what I'm expecting is going to happen here. So with this, it's an interesting selection, I think, as they got 6 players. How much did they really get? Again, worth mentioning, they picked 31. So you're not going to get the superstars that other teams get because you're picking later in the draft. You only have so much draft capital. There's only so much you can do with it. I wasn't crazy about DAXTON Hill, so I'm not crazy about this draft. But if you like DAXTON Hill, you'll probably like this draft because I thought they got pretty fair value with every other one of their picks. It really just comes down to that DAXTON Hill selection, which I wasn't crazy about. But again, I know people in the comments will be mad at me for that because they like DAXTON Hill. So fine. It all depends on your evaluation of him. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What were your thoughts on this draft? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.